Hi. I have I have a YouTube channel. I've actually had this for a while. I just haven't used it. And I'm not even sure where to look. If I look here, I can see myself. If I look up here, I think it looks like I'm looking at you. You'd think I'd be better at this, having been an actor for 20 so years, but it's been a few years, and I start sort of stopped all that just as we were getting into the self-tape thing. Whatever. Um, Hi. This is after not a lot of thought. As you can see, we're still probably going to be deciding how to frame this. And it's Equinox, and we got to bust some moves because it's go time. It's go time. Also, Joanna, who I will be referring to quite a bit because Joanna Pitt and I we have a podcast going. Anyway, she's been heavily influencing me to get over onto YouTube, and I have also been, in my brainstorming and thinking about how I want to grow and expand. It's like, well, I want to broaden my audience. And I've been saying broaden the audience for a long time. And it's like, why don't you go somewhere where you could have more audience? So here we are. I will still be as active as ever everywhere. And I don't know. It's time. I want to talk about crystals. I want to talk about all kinds of things here. And this is hopefully a place people can find me, because not everyone likes to go on the Instagram app. Also, I just feel like there's like, how you're at the party after the Oscars, not that it's ever happened to me, but it's like you go to the party and you're like, hey, there's another party. I should maybe go check out that other party. Get out of the comfort zone. So, happy Equinox! I'm wearing red. This is my red. I'm actually a winter palette. So this is the red that I can get away with, even though Equinox Aries season is more of like an orange red, like this humble example of red quartz. Technically maybe tangerine quartz, but I mean red, orange red, orange red. And yes, I'm wearing my CERN hat only because my hair is extremely dirty right now. And when it's go time, it's go time. Like, we don't have time for hair and makeup. We don't have time to go like wash the hair. And anyways, I think I might go to Bikram later on, and I don't want to like mess it up. But we gotta go. We gotta go. Um, I've been doing a lot. But anyways, about my CERN hat. Yeah. So, that's all. I'm just wearing this because I threw it on. I'm not trying to like create a portal or like blast a wormhole into this video. Although maybe I'm a little bit. I don't know. I mean, why not? Like, fuck around and find out, right? I can say that on YouTube, right? Yeah. Anyways, we do have an eclipse coming up on March 25th, so that's going to be a wormhole in and of itself. So, what many wormholes, many lives, right? Yeah, that works. Many wormholes, many lives. So, the thing I want to talk about regarding crystals right now and equinox and Aries season. Now, I like to use the word balance with equinox as much as anyone. I just got off my friend Remington's Zoom, where he was actually very critical of using the word balance for equinox. I'm good with both. I'm good with acknowledging that the sun and moon, the daytime it's equal daytime as it is night. I like that. And anytime I think that we can engage with just balance itself, but also recognize that the world, the earth, is doing something for us. It's like, we got this, and then we can also got this. Like, it's this feeling of, things can be super chaotic, and they probably are. In fact, they are. We know they are. So when there's so much chaos going on anyways, if I can think to myself, well, at least the earth is a little balanced right now. It's just one less thing I have to worry about, you know? Anyways, that's one thing. And then for me, as I was brainstorming also about how I feel, like, how does this feel for me, this Aries season, after a very languid Pisces, griefy, cleansing, die off that the last maybe month has felt like really lots coming up that I'm just noticing, like reviewing personal little griefs, letting it go, just not trying to hover too much in it, but also not being very motivated to do anything, really. I'm looking forward to that chapter being a little complete and moving into more activation. And one of the buzzwords for Aries, of course, is courage. And I just wrote it down yesterday. I was like, this is a season of courage. And it's like, courage is one of those sort of, it's one of those sort of trigger words where it's like, oh shit, what do I have to be courageous about? Like, is something bad happening that I have to be courageous about? And it's like, no, I think courage is just getting over whatever kind of resistance or whatever kind of pullback is happening, any kind of negative mind warnings and survival fears that are coming up. It's just an opportunity to overcome those. And if you think about yourself being in a comfort zone, it's like you can always be in a comfort zone. You can be comfortable in your body. You can be comfortable in your situations and your environments. You can always be comfortable in that. And comfortable, ready to pivot, know it, like ready to be agile. I mean, you can be comfortable in a very uncomfortable yoga position. It's really just your mindset. So, in the spirit of Season of Courage, it almost, it's like I don't even want people to think too much about it. Just do it. I was also going to wear the Nike hat that said just do it, but I don't know if I can do that because I don't know if I can do that because, logos and trademarks and all that. So just do it. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. And I want to say also, and this is to my human design friends, but it's really to any of us that have awareness and vocabulary and language and intelligence and education around just the way we're made up, just in terms of like, I'm a manifesting generator in human design. So one of the things as a manifesting generator is I have lots of things going on at all times. And, some people might categorize it as ADHD. I don't know much about diagnoses and I've never been diagnosed with that. So, however, with my rambling, you might think to yourself, wow, she's kind of all over the place. I think there's a thread, right? So as a manifesting generator, there's a lot going on. I'm able to manage many things at once. And there's a real, I don't want to say preciousness, but sometimes there can be a preciousness around feeling something and doing something and being motivated and being like, we're often we often look at a manifesting generator as someone who has to feel like doing it in order to do it, like really is supposed to just pursue the passions. And that has been extremely liberating for me now, as long as I've known human design, because there were times when I would be doing something that I'd been working on for a while and and it was like really like having to muscle through to do it. And in the end, it turned out that like it was something that I really wasn't meant to do necessarily, but I was also brought up to finish what you start, finish what you start, finish what you start. Not a bad teaching, not bad guidance, but not necessarily true for everything that I start. Even if I was a kid and started a coloring book, finish that coloring book and then you can get a new one, that kind of thing, which is just, it was the 80s. So 70s? 90s. I had coloring. Yeah. So anyways, this whole idea of finish what you started doesn't always, sometimes you just drop it. Sometimes you're like, you know what, this isn't happening. I'm just going to let this go. So there's but with everything, there's balance, right? Well, I'm not feeling it, so I'm not going to do it. There's shit that still has to get done, whether you feel like it or not. And that's something I've had to have kind of a stern conversation with myself about, because I'm a creative person. I have tons of ideas. It's like, well, what am I supposed to be working on right now? And it can get I can easily like lose myself in all of the opportunities really that are there for me. And it's like I have to get very clear. It's like, well, where is my energy best directed at this time? And sometimes it's my choice. It's like, well, I want to do this. Sometimes I have to direct my energy at, filing the sales tax return each month. I don't feel like doing it. Well, you do gotta do it. And honestly, sometimes I think that's where I really appreciate the matrix, because the matrix really does require you to come back into your body and deal with some real shit every now and then, which we really are bound to do as long as we're here on earth. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like, yes, some of us can go float off into the ethers and, I don't know, not have to do that stuff, but many of us, especially a lot of people I'm talking to right now, actually have a lot of interest in making shit happen here on earth. Like, actually, kind of do want to leave a little bit of a legacy. Actually, I kind of do want to make something. I actually do want to, like, fuck around and find out. You know, I mean, I think that's what they're up to over there, anyways. Dark matter? Let's fuck around and find out. Anyways, so that's something I've been having a little conversation with myself about. And that is something I don't think it's just for us manifesting generators. I think it's for a lot of groups, a lot of breeds of us that are, on one hand, we have this awareness now where we're like, oh, wait, hang on a second. I was taught I had to do things this way. And now that I'm in this new enlightened way of seeing the world, I'm a little more awakened than I was, and I'm understanding more about, like, say, quantum, or just how reality really functions. And now that I'm kind of looking around and finding out these new technologies and these new ways of thinking, oh shit, I don't have to do that. I thought I had to do it this way, and now I can do it this way. And I do think that speaking for myself, have to draw myself back a little bit now and be like, okay, I get that this is my makeup. I get that this is how I work in the world. I get this is how I get the most energy and how I can access the most energy. That's great. And okay, so there still are some basic rules though that I'm still going to have to do, and I'm just not going to get precious about it either. And I'm not going to be, bratty about it. I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't feel like doing that right now. It's like, well, guess what? Like, sorry, and I think this is actually where my generation is in pretty good shape, because we do know what it's like to have to work a little bit to get what you want. And, I feel like some teachers, some I don't know, some messages that are getting, bandied around right now, they're not bad. I mean, I think it is good awareness to know that when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're on your path, it is easy. It's supposed to be easy. Things are supposed to be easy. Things are supposed to be energizing. Yes. And let's not get too judgmental or opinionated when things don't feel easy. And in fact, if I come up with some kind of a resistance, or something feels extraordinarily hard, then that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not supposed to do it. It just means that I need to take a different approach, and it's not going to fall in my lap necessarily. I mean, I had this thing with my newsletter. I was about to press send, and I was really excited. I'm like, here we go. Oh, and it was this thing about DNS, and it's like, you need to authenticate. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't even a panic. It was just this fundamental awareness that I was not born for this. And so I made some calls to people, and I'm like, can you help? Because this is just way out of my pay grade. And my friend Jen Mola, the next day, thank you, Jen, figured it out. So, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is not easy. This is not what I want. I don't want to do this right now. I do not want to do this. And it's like, well, sometimes I think the ego doesn't want to do things. And sometimes I think the subconscious doesn't want to do things. And sometimes I think the soul does want to do things. And we really kind of need to meet in the middle here. And again, maybe this is what I've been talking about this whole time, bringing it into balance. So, it's okay to work a little hard. It's okay to do something that is a little stinky poo. You don't really necessarily want to do it. It doesn't mean you're not on your path, and it doesn't mean that, we're not entitled to the ease necessarily. I mean, we are, but let me take that back. All right. If we are entitled to an easeful life, then that might require us to do work in areas so that it can be easeful as we go. How's that? Does that work? Does that sound like a good, I'll give a little, it's like, I'll give a little, God, you give a little. I'll give a little, God, you give a little. And remember, we have one present moment and it keeps passing us. It's like, and now there's a present moment, and now there's a present moment. And our attention and our eyeballs can only be in the present for that present moment. So I have to focus all my energy on this one task. And then, I can fuck off later and be in meditation or whatever. But right now, I'm focusing my energy on this one task. And I'm choosing to do that. I'm using my free will to point my attention. And it's the best I can do, right? So it's like, well, I've got a million things right now. I've got a million curiosities. I've got a million interests. Do I want to go look that thing up? I do. Do I want to go check that crystal out? I do. Do I want to go call that person? I do. Okay, cool. I mean, you can only do one thing at a time. Sometimes you can do a few things at a time, but so you can't really get too worked up over if it's hard or not, because here's the other question. What is telling you that it's hard? And I think it's important to discern what voice we're listening to here. And so it's very easy for me to sit back and be like, well, I'm a manifesting generator, and if I'm not feeling it, it's not supposed to happen. I also know for myself that I need to kind of give things a day or two to marinate. If I'm going to stick in this human design program that I'm aware of, I'm going to have to if somebody gives me an idea and immediately I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. The next day I might. And this is exactly why this YouTube is happening right now. Joanna's in my ear like, you've got to have a YouTube. Oh, that's not what Joanna sounds like. It is a little bit. But, and I was like, and it was kind of late at night. We're on the phone and I'm like, I need to go to sleep. I need to tone this down and read some celebrity autobiography and then slip off into the sleeps. And the next day I still didn't feel like doing it. But the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Okay. So this is it. We're starting. All right. So season of courage. What are crystals? Because this is about crystals, right? So I'm told. What crystals for courage? Very easy. Start with the reds for Aries and Mars, and we'll go from there. So number one, the number one red crystal is, of course, carnelian. Carnelian's fantastic for the Aries season because for many traditions, this is the new year. This is the seed is planted. And this does, carnelian looks like, it just, it looks like a womb. It looks like a very pulsating, creative, it's blood pumping, it gets the blood pumping. So carnelian, of course, for courage, Aries, Mars, and that's the season that we're in. I also love hematoid quartz. Hematoid quartz is quartz, which is, the whitish the white colors. And then the red is hematite that's within, that's in the veins of the quartz that has oxidized and gives it the red color. So this is also great for if you have like Mars in Cancer, or if you have the moon in Aries. I talk about this quite a bit throughout all of my content. And yeah, so same thing. Now then the red quartz I showed you earlier, this tangerine quartz. Same thing, only in this case, the hematite is on the outside of the quartz and has oxidized. And so that gives it the color. So it's kind of a coating almost. Coating, not coating, but it is a little coated, right? And then this is another red quartz that I picked up in Tucson just recently. And this has more of a red look to it. Let me see, show you that side. So same thing, it's on the outside. So courage, like the Cowardly Lion. I love that song. Courage. The other thing I like about for the other crystals I want to talk about for the equinox, back to balance. But tiger eye is also extremely useful in this kind of a season to kind of get things going. It's also a solar fiery crystal. This has blue tiger eye in it also, which gives it an added oomph. This is great for the Jupiter of it too, because Jupiter Sagittarius correlates with tiger eye. So this is another tiger eye. I call this guy Crazy Eights because he's got eights, infinity signs. Pretty cool. But tiger eye is also a great balancing stone. It balances the yin and yang. Speaking of, I actually brought over two. This is called a yin yang stone. And you can't really see it. Well, there's some shimmer there. But this, oh, there we go. There's a blue shimmer, that's moonstone. And then this copper content here, that's the sunstone. So it's sunstone and moonstone in one crystal. So this is a great kind of crystal to have for any moon sun situations, like a new moon, which is when the moon is conjunct the sun, and then a full moon for when the moon is opposite the sun. So you have a little yin yang stone. And of course, if you want to know specific placements of where to put crystals, you can talk to myself or Joanna Pitt, and we can talk you through where to put things in an astrological format that corresponds to your astrological chart, which is rather fun. I will put both of our information in the show notes if I figure out how to do that. Another great crystal, of course, is sunstone. Kind of looks like a sausage, doesn't it? But this is, so, this yin yang stone has sunstone in it. It also has moonstone. So that's why you do see a little bit of that copper that you see more of in here. And sunstone you can put on any sun placement, on any Leo placement. Let's see, what else? Sun, Leo. But you could do it for fire signs, like what we're talking about with Aries right now. So sunstone. And I also have a rough kind of a sunstone here. So that's what this looks like when it's not polished to look like a sausage. Now it just kind of looks like a tartare, but don't eat it. You'll hurt your teeth. So the other thing I wanted to mention is this is tiger iron. So this one is a very good crystal for Aries season, all things courage. Iron, guys. Iron is Aries, Mars. It's the warrior. It's armor. And it's like, we don't have to go get into a fight, but I think we can go into our lives with a lot of contained fiery passion. And the nice thing about iron is it's so contained, and it's also very grounding. And there's talk, I don't know, I've never been there, but the center of the earth is an iron core crystal, which some could say is garnet, some might say is ruby. And journey to the center of the earth, right? And then when it's combined with the tiger eye, you have that fiery Aries going for it. And then it's also very grounded into the earth so that you can take these big dreams and aspirations and I am, and really let it come from the heart, but also have a place for it to land, have a place for it to really get into the ground. And plant itself, because this is when the seed goes into the soil. And then one other guy I wanted to show you guys is this tiger eye skull. Because look, one way to work with skulls, and we'll talk about skulls a lot as long as you're hanging out with me. This guy back here. One thing about the skulls is they give me courage. Because what do skulls make me think of? Well, death. Well, what am I so afraid of? Death. And not just like, but I'm not. I mean, it's there. Death is always here and available. And why don't we take action? Why don't we take risks? We have a fear. A fear of what? A fear of failure. Okay. So, and this isn't necessarily like, this is just one thread, right? So it's like fear of failure. Well, what's really failure? Oh, it's shame, it's humiliation. It's okay. So then what's at the root of it? It's like it's a death. It's like I'm afraid of my ego death. I'm afraid of not maintaining this identity that I'm trying to maintain. Well, maybe you're not supposed to maintain it. Maybe there's something else that you're wanting to grow into. So a nice tiger eye skull to give me courage to go forth and take action. And I have big dreams and great expectations. So buck it. Let's go. What am I so afraid of? Okay, you know what? That's all I'm going to say right here now. I'm going to figure out how to post this onto YouTube, and I'll just give you my pitches. So you can follow me on Instagram, The Crystal Situation, where I put stories up, and you'll see a lot of what I've got. We have an online shop called theliminallandmineral.com. And I'll put these links on in here as well. There's about 5% of the inventory that we have on that website, just because it's just a lot of work. I don't feel like doing it, but I'll do it. Don't worry. So actually, really, the best way to get in touch with me is just to shoot me an email, curate@thecrystalsituation.com. So those are different places to find me, and of course here. And I also have a podcast with the aforementioned Joanna Pitt. It's called This Aquarian Life. And in it, we talk all things Aquarian, all things New Age and exploratory, and things that we're looking into. I'm personally really into the gene keys right now. I know, who knew? Joanna, of course, is just a master astrologer, and she's been teaching and doing yoga for 10 years. Same as me, but she's smarter than I am when it comes to like actually retaining the yogic technology. She's very smart. So those are just some things that are going on. And if you are interested, also what I had mentioned before, she does astrological charts. So of course she can give you a reading, and she can also do a crystal pairing for you, where you'll understand where to put certain crystals in your environment on an altar so that they best align with the astrological forces, as above, so below, to your chart. And then of course you can call me, and I will gladly furnish you with any of her recommendations. And I think we have maybe, I don't want to say 200. No, that sounds like a lot. I have a lot of kinds of crystal, let's just say. So the inventory is very full, like our cup overfloweth. And of course, my mission is to get as many of these out into homes, placed in ways that just help the energy around you, help you feel good, help you look in one corner of your home and be like, oh, I got that covered. That crystal's working for me. It really is a lot of fun. And then finally, referrals, guys. Tell your friends. Please just spread the word about what I'm up to over here. I'm in Sedona, and Have Crystals will travel. So that's actually one of the best parts of my job sometimes is I took a couple of skulls out to Switzerland because we found that it was cheaper for me to fly with them. Well, maybe a little cheaper. I mean, spend some money, but it made more, if I was up to it, and I was, it just made a little more sense to go on a little adventure and hand deliver them. So there's that. And then, of course, oodles of more content coming your way. A lot of people always asking me about skulls. So if you would like to have a little consultation about that, of course, email me again, curate@thecrystalsituation.com. And I will be putting out more content. I also am working on a Substack. So I love to write. That will be taking shape as well. And and you can book a session with me privately if you would like to just kind of shoot the shit and run some things by me. I'm told that I can reflect and help guide in ways that maybe would be very helpful. We'll see. And then, of course, if you want to do a crystal consultation, you can do that as well. It's just a minimum purchase of a crystal. So you'd pay for the session, and then we would factor that into whatever you ended up purchasing from me. So I think that's everything, and I just look forward to a lot more of this, meeting many more of you, meeting your friends, your family, having fun, and remembering to take this reverently, but not seriously, because we don't have a lot of time, and we may as well make the most of it and have as much fun and make it as pretty and magical as we possibly can. At least that's what I'm interested in. So thanks for listening, and we'll see what happens. Happy Equinox, sending you guys lots of love. And if you're interested in any of these that I've shown you, please let me know. All right, bye.